So once more, hello everyone, and welcome to our PRINCE2 Agile webinar. The focus of our webinar is to introduce you a framework, PRINCE2 Agile framework, as a best practice, the benefits of this framework, and of course, what is actually the content of PRINCE2 Agile framework of the course. Within this introduction, I will definitely try to give you the insight what makes PRINCE2 Agile the best international practice framework as currently available, and how this framework will help you and your organization to guide you to successful digital transformation. But before I start with introduction of the PRINCE2 Agile framework, please let me introduce you shortly EDU Trainings and portfolio of EDU Trainings. So the portfolio of EDU Trainings we can segregate into three main areas which we focus on. The first area, those are technical courses. Currently we have the widest technical area covered through our technical courses, which is definitely something that we are very proud of. The second area of focus are soft skills courses which are focused on area of communication, presentation, management, negotiation, etc., and self-development, of course. And the third focus area are language courses, online language courses through a Voxy platform. This language course is currently held in English language, and definitely it's very attractive because it focuses on development of active use of the language through communication and consultation of current actual topics such as pandemic and such, and through these communications with the trainer, the attendee of the course should develop and improve his language skill. If I should give you a glance on our technical course portfolio, you can see definitely these are the courses which we currently provide. For more information, please visit our website. Definitely you'll find there all the bits and pieces, all the increment details on the content of the courses, duration, time frames, whether they are held in classrooms or virtually, etc., etc. Yet another glance on the soft skill courses portfolio, just picked the top 10 courses attended. Definitely browse, visit our website for more information on the content of the courses. Very important thing to mention, due to the current situation, many companies have shifted to the virtual mode. We are no different. Definitely, we basically, as many other companies, adjusted to the situation, and even the situation will, the current situation will pass. We will continue on providing you the online virtual courses due to the very positive feedback, due to the flexibility and definitely the comfort of the attendees. This is something that is highly preferable. So we will definitely provide those courses not only on the presence form in the classrooms, but also on the virtual platforms ongoing. And the newest addition to our portfolio, I'm happy to introduce you crash courses. The crash courses we have introduced a couple of weeks ago. They have been very highly regarded because the crash course, what is actually a crash course? Crash course is basically a course which lasts half a mandate. The duration of the course is a half a mandate. And the content of the crash course basically encapsulates in a very extracted version the 3-day full foundation course on the chosen topic. So, for example, if you don't have the time or the money, because it costs a fraction of the price, or you don't have the possibility to travel because you are from far, you're not local, a crash course can give you an insight what actually the topic is about. It's absolutely for anybody who is interested to actually join us and to broaden their knowledge on current subject. It doesn't mean that not everybody necessarily needs certifications, not everybody necessarily wants to spend a lot of money on the courses. This is a fine solution for everybody who is actually interested in broadening their knowledge for a fraction of the price. Definitely, I recommend this course for anybody who actually is yet undecided whether or not to actually attend a full-day course. Crash course should give you an insight and help you to actually make your decision whether the course is for you or whether you will choose something different. Definitely, you can visit our website for more information on these crash courses. We will be holding the crash courses as well as the presence form in the classrooms, as well in the virtual platforms. So currently we are offering, this is just an example of the crash courses platforms which we cover. Currently we are offering 9 crash courses, 9 types of crash courses. Mainly focus of the crash courses are on the area of project management, whether it is the Waterfall methodology or it is the Agile framework, which I will be introducing to you today. Area of service management, management of IT services through best practice known as ITIL. Version 3, version 4, what are the differences? Very interesting topic, very actual topic for you to actually to focus on and to actually master, to actually become successful in your digital transformations. IT for IT as well, framework which ITIL4 actually sourced from. So it's very interesting to see different kinds of frameworks, how they actually interact and how they actually provide you the added value. Also, you can come and get the quick introduction on all 3 areas, projects, programs, and portfolio. This definitely could provide you an encapsulated view of what is actually, how these 3 layers influence each other and what is actually the key benefit of management of these 3 layers. The last bullet point which I put on this slide is area of successful digital transformation crash courses. Definitely very highly regarded and recommended by our attendees, by our students. Definitely something that companies strive for and aim for in strategic goals of today. Because this area is very wide, we have decided to actually split it to 3 levels to give you a thorough introduction. What actually you need in order to master the digital transformation transfer from the current semi-automated state until the fully automated state. So definitely something for you to look into. Please feel free to visit our website for the content of the courses, or you can even write an email query to our educational team, where we will be very happy to respond to you. Definitely, because of the current situation, which is worldwide, we have decided to give you a special price offering on our package deals, which are relevant to our crash courses, but not only to the crash courses, but also, as you will see, as I will show you at the end of our webinar, we have the same approach with our regular courses. So just to give you some benefit of the fact that we all are in the same situation, so you have something nice to look at, and definitely it will give you possibility to actually attend more than 1 crash course with a new beneficial price. So for more information, also please visit our website or contact our EDU team. So this is how actually the PRINCE2 Agile course educational path could look like for you. So you can either choose to attend half day. You can choose to start. That's the more proper way. You can choose to start by attending the half day crash course education, which will give you a certain insight. What is the subject about? Whether it is for you and whether it is interesting enough for you to actually continue the educational path. If you decide that it is interesting for you, you then can come and attend the PRINCE2 Agile Foundation course, which at the end if successfully passed, you will receive the international certification. The duration of the course is 3 days, and definitely for the foundation course, there are no prerequisites, so you are eligible, anybody is eligible to attend. Then following the educational path is another model, which is PRINCE2 Agile Practitioner course. This is an intermediate course. The prerequisite for this course is basically you have to have a certification from the previous module, foundation module, successfully passed. I always say that for somebody to actually understand what is the subject about, what are the benefits, how I can use it, and how it could help my organization, it's good enough for you, the foundation course. But in order for you to actually manage and to actually be able to implement and actively use those practices, you definitely need to become a practitioner. A practitioner is even in the title of the course, means that partial area of the course is focused on to teaching you how you actually could use those tools, those approaches, in order for you to become a practitioner and then take the methodology and basically implement it on the fly whenever you want. So definitely this could be an ideal educational path for anybody who desires to broaden their knowledge or even is looking for something within the organization to actually improve the control management of agile environment in your company. Before I start with our subject of today, PRINCE2 Agile, please let me introduce myself shortly. My name is Katarína Antalová, and my main focus or my main professional expertise comes from area of service management. I have 23 years of experience on the subject of the management of IT services worldwide. For the past couple of years, I heavily used virtual management as a best practice, meaning I've managed companies and countries virtually. Many of the subjects which I will mention to you today, which are the content of the PRINCE2 Agile course, are actually even those which I have used for successfully manage the virtual teams and help to transit the organizations. So I'm happy to introduce to you this framework today during our webinar, because PRINCE2 Agile framework is basically the only available framework currently on the market which addresses the transitional state of the organizations. Many organizations are striving for agility. I will introduce you what agility actually means, what does agile means, what means actually to become agile, to be agile, etc. But definitely from what I've seen and what I've experienced, not all the organizations actually take the correct approach. Many of the organizations, they have taken the approach through a big bang, meaning everybody, let's go agile, which has definitely backfired. So I have encountered many situations where the company didn't manage transformation as well as it would be desired. PRINCE2 Agile gives you the solution for not making these mistakes. Because in order for us to transfer from the current state to the final state, definitely to the new digital era, where automation, where nanotechnologies, robotics will be actual, definitely you need to manage the transitional phases. And this is PRINCE2 Agile as an answer. So let me introduce you PRINCE2 Agile as a methodology. What is basically PRINCE2? PRINCE2 is a methodology which is proven best practice. It has been developed by the British government. It is owned by the British government. And curiously enough, the British government is also the owner of ITIL framework. For those of you who actually know ITIL, which is basically standard for management of the IT services and widely used. And PRINCE2 and ITIL, they actually have been developed at the same time at the end of 80s. And definitely PRINCE2 has become, since then, PRINCE2 has become very widely used, internationally used best practice for project management. As you can see on the timeline, you can see that definitely there was some management, some historical development of the PRINCE. In the year 2015, the PRINCE2 Agile version has been introduced, which I will be introducing you today. Definitely, the content of the course you can see just at a glance. If you choose to attend our course, definitely these are the areas which we will be addressing in overall. We will be introducing you to project management as such, because not everybody is a practitioner of project management. Not everybody knows what does it actually take to manage successfully projects, etc., etc. So we will start from the basics. Then definitely, because it is even in the name, we will introduce you to an Agile. This is something that I will focus also today, to actually let you know what the Agility is and how we can actually use it to our benefit. In the introduction to Agile Manifesto is something that is closest to expression of what agility means. It's a set of 4 rules which defines the principles based on which an agile environment should be managed. So this is also part of the course to actually get you in the right mindset, to actually understand what the agility is and how the environment, if I want to manage agile company or project, what actually I have to have in terms of the environment. Introduction to Scrum. Scrum is also a very well-known framework which is used mainly for software development. By the way, Scrum, when it has been brought to life also at the end of 90s, has been developed for product development. But it has been so well definitely embedded in the area of software development that since then it became the best practice for incremental software development. So as you know it today, so Scrum most companies use for some sort of software development approach. I will be introducing you to principles of Scrum. Very happy to say that Scrum is part of the PRINCE2 Agile framework, so it is part of the course content. Kanban visualization method is also a subject which is part of the course content, and this method is basically back to the basics. It's something that brings the companies to the simplicity, to the less administration, to something that is more effective and less unpractical, to put it that way. Processes, teams, these are the content of the PRINCE2 framework. Because PRINCE2 Agile is basically an extended version of the PRINCE2, and the extension has been added in agility. So the themes and processes have stayed in this framework. Definitely they are part of the content of the course, and I put on the very bottom also agile contracts, because this is a very interesting subject. So if we finally decide within our company that we will implement, or we will drive, or we will manage through agile environment the delivery of the project, or even the whole company, definitely how to go about the contract is one of the main topics. So how the contract should be aimed, how they should be, what they should not miss, and how they should be constructed in order for us to be beneficial. So definitely something that I will tell you or address at the end of our webinar. So because there is a limited time for our webinar, definitely I will not address everything, but I will focus my time on 2 main subjects: to introduce you PRINCE2 as such, and introduce you Agile. Meaning PRINCE2 is basically a combination of these 2 worlds. PRINCE2 is basically Waterfall world, and Agile is basically the flexible, the quick, the speedy world. And how these 2 worlds I can actually combine and manage together in order to achieve objective. This is something that I will try to explain to you and show you the benefit of this framework. So first of all, definitely I have to start with introduction. What is actually business as usual? What are the routine activities, and how the projects influence actually the business as usual? If you look at the slide in front of you, business as usual is basically never-ending, ongoing operational activities which every organization has, the business as usual as well as the portfolio has to be managed. They consume a certain amount of resources and money, because definitely in order for you to actually run an organization, you need somebody to manage the organization. You need a portfolio. A portfolio is basically a set of strategic goals which you actually set in order to actually achieve them. So both business as usual and portfolio are activities which are never ending. They start the minute you actually open a company, and they dissolve the minute you actually dissolve the company. Whereas projects and programs, this is totally different frame, because projects and programs are basically time-driven activities. They start at a certain time, and they definitely end at a certain time. They represent change, because through delivering a project, you basically implement some sort of a change into the business as usual. They are uncertain because you never know whether or not the strategic goals will not change and the project will actually finish. And basically, they are unique because each project is basically unique. So these two layers, the business as usual and the program, the timely frame area, they influence each other because they consume same resources. And if I say resources, I mean people and money within the same organization. So there are two layers you always have to manage. And in order for you to actually manage efficiently the project program layer, definitely you need to have implemented some sort of a framework according to which you are able to manage those. So if I want to explain to you how actually a project as such will become so-called business as usual, this is exactly what this slide shows. On the left side, you can see the blue rulers, the blue swim lines. Those represent a project which has been prepared, planned, initiated, delivered, and then handed over. The red rectangle represents the point where the project actually has been delivered and then handed over to the live environment, to the business as usual, to the ongoing routine activities. From the moment where you hand over the project to the ongoing routine activities, you can then apply the agile delivery on incremental development. So this picture, if you take it, consider that the left side is basically website development. The website development consists out of certain planning, certain requirement gathering, then the phase of development, delivery, go live, and basically handover. The minute you put the website goes live, basically the project is over, if this is the goal of the project. And then from that moment, if you need to enhance something on the website or add a new feature or anything you desire, you can use the incremental agile delivery as on the right side of the picture. So let me start with the explanation. What does agile mean? For many people, it's a very commonly used word without having a grasp that agile does not mean only flexibility. If you put it into some dictionary, agile definitely means flexibility, swiftness, promptness. Nevertheless, in the context of the PRINCE2 Agile framework, that is not all what it means. It also references to the behaviors, concepts, frameworks, techniques. Everything together combined means agile. So definitely all those frameworks, concepts, and techniques should help you to deliver in an agile way, which is the flexible way, prompt, flexible way. So to put it in a graphical representation, you can see this picture. I have put this picture here on purpose because I wanted to show you this is a landscape, agile landscape. Every dot, every white dot is basically a representation of certain tool, certain framework, certain area that helps manage in agile way. It's a huge landscape. And if I show you the areas which PRINCE2 Agile framework is actually addressing within this landscape, these are actually the areas. So you can see the PRINCE2 Agile has quite a huge overlap, which consumes not only the principles of project management, but also how to actually embed those principles into the agile delivery. So within the framework, you will have Scrum, you will have the introduction of benefits of the Scrum delivery. We will introduce you how you can actually report the progress through Kanban, which is a widely used visualization method. As I mentioned on the beginning, Kanban is back to the basics. So I will show you how it actually looks like, Kanban. Definitely, in order for you to actually deliver in an agile environment, you have to understand the principles of collaboration. So all the behaviors, the mindset, the environment has to be set in a way that the collaboration could happen, and it's possible, which actually means to start, before you even start with the implementation of Agile, start with the assessment part, which is on the left side of the picture, the assessment. PRINCE2 Agile framework introduces you to a couple of assessment tools which you can use in order for you to actually begin with. This is basically the A, Y, Z, and Z, the whole alphabet of the success of the Agile transformation, because many companies did very big mistake by choosing, for example, Scrum, and they said we will be Agile, which means we will deliver by Scrum, via Scrum. Scrum doesn't address everything. As you can see on the picture, Scrum addresses only incremental delivery. But in order for you to successfully use Scrum as a delivery tool, you need to have collaborative environment. You need to have the proper tools. The people actually have to know how to run collaborative workshops. They have to understand what does collaboration mean, and such. So it's a huge area of assessment that you need to consider even before you even start with the implementation of the agility. So these areas are actually even the content of the PRINCE2 Agile to make this framework even more efficient for you. So if I should introduce you Agile in the basics, Agile is referenced as a time-box approach. This time-box approach is basically developed to actually deliver within the short time frames. The short time frames could be anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks duration, and these short time frames basically help you to deliver within the two time frames. Basically, within the first 6 weeks, approximately, you are able to actually use the product which you actually delivered. It's very attractive for companies which actually are looking for a small investment and very fast return on the investment. Techniques which help you to deliver through Agile are definitely Scrum, the widely used Scrum, but also Lean. For example, if you have a startup company, you definitely will not use Scrum because you don't have the man-force, you don't have the money, you don't have the time, but you may use Lean Startup, for example, which is even from the naming convention, it's widely used for startup companies, and it's based on the principle basically test, try, and learn from the mistakes, and then basically repeat the new approach. Kanban is used for visualization of the progress, definitely something that Agile teams rely on. It could be in a physical form or in a virtual form. I will address Kanban in a short time. So back to the benefit of the Agile project management versus Waterfall. On the left side, if I should show you just in a graphical representation, how does Waterfall look like as opposed to Agile delivery? On these pictures, you basically have management of the project through two different types of delivery. On the left side is the Waterfall delivery, which basically says that you first start with the preparation, then you basically continue with the specification, then you develop a plan. The plan, somebody approves the plan, you develop a budget, the budget is approved, and then you start with the project delivery. The moment you start delivering the project, you basically still spend money. So all the preparation, all the planning and all the delivery costs you money. That's what the red circle actually means. The higher the spike is, basically the more resources you use. Whereas on the right side, as you can see, the preparation is very short in an agile environment, which means that you don't do extensive preparation, but you start with something. You start with something, you deliver that, and you go incrementally from that point and onwards and onwards. This is very attractive for many companies because it represents that you don't need to allocate a lot of resources, which, and by resources I mean people and money, but you definitely are good to go with a small amount of resources, and within a very short time frame you're able to generate the return on investment on those resources. So this is that's just one of few of those benefits of the agile delivery. Definitely I haven't mentioned many others, but very important thing which I would like to say, and all the attendees of the PRINCE2 Agile course will understand when attending the course, is that there's never a question whether or not you will be able or you want to deliver through agile delivery, but how much of the agile delivery you can actually apply in which environment. So it is always a question of how much rather than yes or not. So definitely the assessment tools, which I mentioned that are part of the framework, they will help you to make the decision to assess the environment, the tools, the teams, the abilities, if you're even able to actually onboard the agile delivery. And if you're not, what are you actually needing? The agile assessment tools are gradually throughout the project still monitoring all these areas, and definitely you can still use them to actually assess, improve, assess and improve. Yeah? So it's something that is embedded within the agile delivery framework according to the PRINCE2 Agile. So what is actually the content of the PRINCE2 Agile framework? This is how PRINCE2 Agile framework looks like. In the middle, you have the blue, the dark blue circle. It contains PRINCE2 processes, themes, principles, and project environment. Those are 4 integrated parts of a regular PRINCE2. Regular PRINCE2 is basically methodology which is used for waterfall project delivery, controlled. So the authors actually took the PRINCE2, which was working fantastically, and it's still working fantastically, and they embedded on top the agile techniques, frameworks, behaviors, as you see in the bubbles around the circle. The frameworks which are heavily mentioned in this in the content of the course are definitely Scrum. So the interaction of the Scrum is made through this PRINCE2 Agile framework. Kanban, Lean Startup, these three frameworks are basically introduced within the course. We will introduce you agile behaviors. What does it actually mean to be agile? What are the principles, the values, what you actually have to address within your organization, within your team to actually manage agile environment successfully? What concept you can use, what techniques, what assessment techniques you can use. This is also addressed within the framework of the PRINCE2 Agile content. So as I mentioned, in the middle, I will just switch to the previous picture. As you can see, this is enlargement of the middle part of the integrated PRINCE2 Agile framework. The fact I put it here is because everything is based on the PRINCE2. PRINCE2 is best proven practice for project management. The way the processes are run, the way the organizations, the areas are managed, the principles which represents laws which you have to obey in order to actually, or follow, not obey, but follow, in order to actually achieve successful project delivery, and how you have to customize all this to fit your environment, to fit the size of the project, everything that you need. This is everything that worked successfully in a PRINCE2, so the authors left it, which is fantastic. And on top, they actually added the agility, which you can use in order to deliver the project product. So if I take the picture, if I take this picture, and give you the horizontal representation of this picture, it will look like this. And they even call it, the authors even call it the layer cake, because it resembles of a cake, yeah, which has 3 layers. And the blue 2 first top layers are basically based on the PRINCE2 project delivery principles, processes, themes. So imagine those 2 layers are basically, the very top layer is the layer where the executives operate. This is the decision body which makes the decision, which approves the budget, which make all the decision that is necessary to actually start the project, confirm the continual justification, and progress in the project, and make all the decision in order for the project benefits to be achieved. So the control layer will still be operating in a sense of PRINCE2 framework, controlled, which means controlled. The middle layer is also blue, which means this is also focused on a PRINCE2 best practice. This is the layer where the project manager does his daily job, which actually means that on a daily basis, the project manager will still control what is being delivered, what is actually being assigned, and how is being reported to the executive level. The agility is happening in a PRINCE2 Agile on the very bottom layer, as you can see. The very bottom layer represents product delivery. This is where the actual project products are actually being made, delivered. So within this bottom layer of product delivery, this is the strongest area where we can actually apply agility. And agile frameworks such as Scrum delivery or any other, if you may prefer. So if I take the same representation as we had the layer cake and put it on a processes which are part of the PRINCE2, it will look something like this, because the processes are basically same as in a PRINCE2. The agility is applied only on the bottom layer, but it does not mean, if I just go back swiftly to the previous slide, you can see that there are errors from top down and bottom up. This error represents that it has to be blended together. The control has to be blended from the top to the very bottom, and the agility principles, mindset, everything that makes agile has to be respected to the top layer. Yeah. So these 2 or 3 layers have to be basically blended in a perfect mixture to actually for you to use it as a beneficial. It's fantastic that the authors actually left on the top layers the PRINCE2 principles, because when I told you that PRINCE2 Agile is basically the only framework currently available on the market which addresses controlled delivery over agile development, it is the very truth. And this picture actually represents it. You will never deliver agile anything through incremental delivery without having the control, without having the approval from the top management, which is basically the main decision body. Then to the lower level, it will be shifted to the responsibilities of the project manager to actually manage, control, and report, and the agility and the self-management of the agile teams, which is definitely flat. There is no hierarchies, so it's based on the collaboration and some sort of a principle of everybody has the same structure. There is no hierarchies in between them. This is a representation of the agile environment. So to put it in a perspective, how can actually could look at one team which will be delivered through a PRINCE2 Agile, which will be delivering project according to the PRINCE2 Agile methodology. Here you can see the organizational structure for one single project. On the very top layer, you have the black rectangle, which represents the executives. The executives are the main decision bodies. This is where all the decisions are made. This is where the budgets are approved. This is where every progress of the project phases are approved. There is no other layer which addresses this approval. Only here are all the decisions made on the top project board level, which is exactly how it should be. On the middle level, where project manager operates, still a control have to be managed, because project manager and his single responsibility is to actually dispatch and assign works to the team managers, and definitely to the layer below, and definitely to report the progress to the layer above. And in this picture, you can see that you still will need just one executive layer to actually give direction and make decisions, which is the project board. One project manager, single project manager, to actually manage the project. And then you can have various numbers of the teams which will be operating totally opposite ways. One in a waterfall aspect, and another will be delivering through agile delivery. It is still possible as long as the project manager will be managing and reporting the progress and basically assigning the work. So this is what PRINCE2 Agile actually offers to you, enables you to do. Definitely very interesting subject to come by. Even you can see on the agile side of the project organization, you can see that there are two teams. One is managed through agile delivery according to Scrum, and the right side you can see there is an organization which is defined by PRINCE2 Agile as such. So you can have even, and if you go figure, and if you develop your own agile delivery methodology, you can still embed it into the PRINCE2 Agile framework and use it. So this is fantastically flexible framework which enables you to combine these two seemingly totally opposite worlds, but it is enabled through PRINCE2 Agile. So Scrum is part of the frameworks which is introduced through PRINCE2 Agile. What is a Scrum? Scrum is basically incremental delivery, which is mainly known for software development used. Software development originally has been this framework has been developed for product development. Nevertheless, it has been so well recognized in the area of software development that is now widely used as the best practice for software development. We have roles which are defined in Scrum team, which you can see, Scrum Master, Product Owner on the left side, and Development Team. These are the three main roles within the Scrum. As you can see on the first role, Scrum Master, it might resemble that somebody who is actually basically governing the team, or somebody who is giving them orders, who is mastering the team. There is no such thing in a Scrum team as somebody would have a higher hierarchy or would be higher above the team. The whole Scrum team, or the principle, represents the principles of agility, which means everybody is on the same level. And there are the differences between the responsibilities are basically defined according to the roles and responsibilities of the individual roles. So each role has assigned responsibilities which comes along with the role, and according to execution of those responsibilities, you are then able to successfully deliver according to the Scrum methodology. Definitely very interesting that it's a part of the PRINCE2 Agile framework. For anybody who doesn't have a idea or experience with agile delivery, this is one which you can actually use, one framework which you can actually use. As I mentioned earlier, I mentioned that I will let you know a little bit about the Kanban and the visualization method. What is actually Kanban? What does it mean? And how you can actually use it. Kanban visualization method is basically back to the basic, as I mentioned on the beginning. Kanban is adopted from Japanese, and in Japanese it means a card. These cards could be the representation of the post-it notes, yes, as you can see on a slide. And definitely the visualization progress reporting through Kanban means that you will have one board. It could be physical board, or it could be in a virtual collaboration tools dashboard, which will have 3 columns. The 3 columns, where the first column on the left side will be to do, the middle one will be work in progress, and then the right side column will be done. And you will basically write your tasks or even requirements on the post-it notes, and then basically just move it as you will develop and finish the requirements from the left side to the right side. So it's a very basic tools. For most of you, you even use it for maybe even for years, not knowing that this is basically something which is called Kanban. I used to have on my fridge Kanban, on my dashboard, whatever. I used it for many years, even at school, and never knew that that's basically a Kanban. So Kanban helps you to get rid of the additional force which you need to produce in order to actually provide someone reporting. Imagine that reporting and overhead in general on administration purposes and on administration activities is huge. And everything we do, and this is exactly lean management, we try to reduce basically everything that is not adding real value, meaning whatever doesn't have return on investment, just get rid of it. So Kanban is something that makes you, that allows you to actually put on the board, and as I mentioned, it does not matter if you will have it in a virtual representation in some collaboration tool or on your wall somewhere. It allows you to actually display how you're actually doing, and then anybody who actually wants to see where are you at doesn't need to invite you for direct reporting. Just look at the Kanban and basically see what is the progress. So this is the aim of Kanban, to make it visual for anybody who wants to see, in order to actually reduce the overhead on some unnecessary administration. So this is also something that we will it will be introduced through PRINCE2 Agile framework to you. And last but not least, I wanted to mention, because this is very, I really highly appreciated it, the fact that the authors of PRINCE2 Agile have included Agile contracts and their recommendations in the theory of the PRINCE2 Agile course, because it's very important. If you have Agile environment, it is very important for you to be able to manage successfully the environment, to have set the frameworks and the boundaries in the contract. The contract should be seemingly flexible in order for you to be able to react on changes, flexible making changes, as well as they have to be somehow in terms of the delivery. There should be some milestones which should be defined within the contract, so you actually know whether you are moving towards the desired goal. So Agile contracts and the recommendations which PRINCE2 Agile provides to you are definitely something that you must have, must even master in order for you to successfully deliver Agile projects or manage Agile environments. That's also something that is within the course encapsulated. So because we are approaching the end of our webinar, I would like to ask you if you have any questions to the subjects that I have presented to you. Please be so kind and write to our chat. My colleague will send me these questions, and as I will wait for your responses, let me just guide you once more through the educational scheme for PRINCE2 Agile. So as I mentioned, you definitely could choose to begin with so-called crash course, the half-day introduction course, which will possibly give you an ease of decision whether or not to actually forward and go for the full certified, internationally known PRINCE2 Agile Foundation course, the duration of 3 days. And then definitely, if you're ambitious to actually implement and manage and become a practitioner of this methodology, you can then join us and for 2 days course, PRINCE2 Agile Practitioner course. So this is definitely up to you. Feel free to ask us any queries you might have on the subject. Feel free to visit our website for details of the courses, for the content. And if you even have a suggestion or questions which might be referencing to the current situation which you have unaddressed or would like to you would like to address within your companies, also you can send us a query. We can customize some workshops or everything that is for you to actually address the situation. So I'm going to ask my colleague now whether or not he's got some questions to forward to me. Okay. So one last bit, as I mentioned on the beginning, due to the situation which we're going through, we would like to be very upfront to you and also flexible with our offers. So we have prepared special package deals for you, which you can actually attend if you're taking the approach that you will be actually attending all 3 courses. Or if you would like to attend just 2 of them, there is also specially for you. So please feel free to ask us, to contact us in the consultation of these. And let me see if there is some questions. Okay, guys. So it seems that we are all ready to start our weekend. Definitely, I thank you very much for the attention. Looking forward to see you on our next courses. Whether you choose to attend the crash course, or you will be the one who will be continuing all three phases of the courses of the development, or any other offered course in our portfolio. Definitely, I wish you a very nice weekend, and looking forward to see you on our next courses.